I sat here and watched two jets carve parallel white lines into the sky. They charted their course, and I followed them for 21 minutes until they turned off near Sanford and were lost.
Oh.
If I were a gull, I would abandon my nest and join them. I would starve my brain of oxygen and suffer delusions of transcendence.
Huh.
I would tear the bottom from my boat and sail across the motorways until I reached this island once again.
That's weird. It does look like the white lines. Hello, all of you salty fish out there, and how is it going today? My name is Czar, and welcome to SaltyFishGame, and welcome back to Dear Esther, Landmark Edition. So we are in Chapter 4 right now, which is, I believe, called The Beacon. And I still don't understand some of this story, like a good amount of this story, but I am starting to piece together a few parts of the story. So I don't really have too much to say other than I am going to get back to where we were, and you guys will probably see a little bit of that because I am going to explain some of the pieces that I think is going on in this story and what the heck is happening on this island. And I'll also explain some of the other finer details of this game that I recently found out about. So, I suppose, without further ado, let's jump back into Dear Esther, Landmark Edition. Alright, so we are moseying back to where we were, and I got some of the characters mixed up. So, Jakobsen, who I think the first chapter was about, he was the shepherd, the shepherd and herded goats, and was not to the standard of breeding and starting a family, apparently. There's some other things about Jakobsen, but I can't quite remember those. But that leads me to Donnelly, who the second chapter is about. And he is the person that the author is closest with, I believe. Donnelly, I think it's a he anyway, unless it's actually Esther, because there is an Esther Donnelly, who I think the third chapter was about.
I returned home with a pocket full of stolen ash. Half of it fell out of my coat and vanished into the car's upholstery. But the rest I carefully stowed away in a box I kept in a drawer by the side of my bed. It was never intended as a meaningful act, but over the years it became a kind of talisman. I'd sit still, quite still for hours, just holding the diminishing powder in my palm and noting its smoothness. In time, we will all be worn down into granules, washed into the sea and dispersed.
Okay, well that definitely looks like a figure. I think somebody is watching me from up there, which means I'm not super crazy. But Donnelly also may have driven drunk, I believe, and I think killed Esther, because it was talking about how Esther is either a daughter or a wife of Donnelly. And the author of the diary starts talking about how somebody was struck by a drunk driver and rendered opaque, I think was the direct quote. And I think that was Esther. So yeah, as I was saying before, these chapters are all about certain people in the author's life. And I'm not sure who the author is yet, but I think this chapter may be about the author of this story. And what I actually noticed from this game is that it's different every time I play it, because I've had to backtrack and try to get to where we were in the last recordings, and some of the dialogue and visuals are just a little bit different, which means...
By the roadside, by the exit for Damascus, all ticking and cooled, all feathers and remorse, all of these signals routed like traffic through the circuit diagrams of our guts, those badly written boats torn bottomless in the swells, washing us forever ashore.
Okay, that sounded a little bit distressed. But, yeah, okay, so I guess this chapter is about Paul. And I don't know who Paul is. I don't think Paul is me. But that also leads me to another point that I messed up last time, was that Damascus is not a person. Damascus is a place. And that may have been a road outside of Damascus where whoever it was got hit by the drunk driver. And how the author got to this island, I have no idea, but a bunch of tragedy befell him. He broke his leg and, just all sorts of bad things. But I mean, maybe this island's all in his mind. Maybe this is a representation of his mental state. And what the heck is that? What is that staticky singing?
From here, I can see my armada.
Yeah, we heard about the boats.
I collected all the letters I'd ever meant to send to you, if I'd have ever made it to the mainland, but had instead collected at the bottom of my rucksack, and I spread them out along the lost beach. Then I took each and every one, and I folded them into boats. I folded you into the creases, and then, as the sun was setting, I set the fleet to sail. Shattered into 21 pieces, I consigned you to the Atlantic, and I sat here until I'd watched all of you sink.
Yeah, we can't actually go out to that far boat, much as I went to. But it looks like there's something surrounding it, almost like seaweed or something of that algae nature. So yeah, now we are where we left off last time. And again, as I was saying, the replayability of this game is really high, because it takes a lot of playthroughs to see and hear all the things, hear all the dialogue, and see all of the events that unfold on this island. So that leaves it open for you guys to find out. And was there any dialogue in here? No, I do not think so. So let's continue forward. But where is forward? There be a candle up there. Maybe that's where I'm supposed to go. Who knows? But we're gonna find out. Whoa. Oh, it's just brick. I thought there was some sort of inscription on that stone. There's the white lines cut into the rock, which is really cool. Don't know what it means for me currently. I mean, I know it signifies death, but those are not... Some of those lines are parallel, but some of them are intersecting, so I don't know what that is. Wait a minute. Wasn't this where that figure was? Am I going to that shadowy figure that was up here? Because he's not here now. I don't know where they went, but they're probably going to pop up behind me and spook the crap out of me.
Sent me blind for a few minutes as I struggled up the cliff path. I swallowed another handful of painkillers, and now I feel almost lucid.
Well, that's not good.
The island around me has retreated to a hazed distance, whilst the moon appears to have descended into my palm to guide me. I can see a thick black line of infection reaching for my heart from the waistband of my trousers. Through the fugue, it's all the world like the path I have cut from the lowlands towards the aerial.
Oh no! The infection must have spread to my legs, because I don't have them anymore! Oh. Oh, hi. I see you. I see you. The infection must have taken my legs, because I don't have them anymore. That's not good for me. I see you over there. You can't tell me I don't this time, because I straight up see you. Well, not anymore, because I got these rocks blocking me, and I don't think I can mosey up there. Nope, nope, it will not let me mosey up there. That's unfortunate. Is he gonna just, like, pop over the side and just stare at me?
I've begun my voyage in a paper boat without a bottom. I will fly to the moon in it. I've been folded along a crease in time, a weakness in the sheet of life. Now you've settled on the opposite side of the paper to me. I can see your traces in the ink that soaks through the fiber, the pulped vegetation. When we become waterlogged and the cage disintegrates, we will intermingle. When this paper aeroplane leaves the cliff edge and carves parallel vapor trails in the dark, we will come together.
How many painkillers are you taking? You said it was a paper boat, and then it's going to take you to the moon, and now it's a paper airplane? That is too many painkillers. You need to stop abusing those. And this is where the shadowy figure was, but he is gone now. Maybe the shadowy figure is the author. And it sounded like he was going to try to commit suicide because he was so distraught over possibly Esther being killed by a drunk driver. And as he was proceeding on his journey... I think that's what that says. But who knows? And I really don't know where I, as the person with no legs, fits into this setting. Because clearly I'm not the author. At least I don't think I am. And was come near to Damascus. And was come near Damascus. That doesn't make any sense. I don't know what you're trying to say. And he was... oh man, there's just so many words that I can't read because they're painted on rocks.
If only Donnelly had experienced this, he would have realized he was his own shoreline, as am I. Just as I am becoming this island, so he became his syphilis, retreating into the burning synapses, the stones, the infection.
I am STD, I am become syphilis. But that leads me to believe that this island really is all in the author's mind. So maybe I am the author. And neither did he eat nor drink. Okay, I've already read that one. And he was 3 days without sight. And he was 3 days without sight. Now, that's gotta be some sort of symbolism. So, Donnelly became syphilis and became crazy, and the author became the island, which is also crazy. So, synopsis of this whole story, everybody's crazy and everybody dies. Ooh, I'm moving slow now. I'll take these nice little steps.
There are headlights reflected in these retinas. Too long in the tunnels of my island without a bottom. The sea creatures have risen to the surface, but the gulls are not here to carry them back to their nests. I've become fixed, open and staring, an eye turned on itself. I've become an infected leg whose tracking lines form a perfect map of the junctions of the M5. I will take the exit at mid-thigh and plummet to my Esther.
Take the exit at mid-thigh and plummet to my Esther? I am not following your symbolism. I think you have taken way too many painkillers. Because that didn't exactly make sense, but maybe he's talking about amputating his leg. Oh, don't fall off that. Amputating his leg, which may lead him to death, in which case that leads him to Esther. So Esther is clearly dead, and everybody's distraught about it. Or at least the author is. There's that ethanol again. Whoa. And it came to pass that as I made my journey, and I'll have to get closer to the rest of that. Huh. Okay. What's out here? Can I see somebody? Can I see anything? Nope, nope, that's just boring. There's a hatch. Looks like it is a bunker of some sorts. That's not the ethanol anymore. I don't know what that means. I don't want to know what that means. It means crazy. 'Cause I am bonkers at this point. And the further up the mountain I go, the crazier I get. Ooh. Wind rustling on the chain link fence. That was really realistic. Really thought that fence was going to close. Still thought it was going to close. Alright. As came to pass that as I made my journey... Huh. Okay. That moon is still really pretty. Came to pass, made my journey, and was come high something Damascus. I have no idea what that all means. Something about going to Damascus, though. Oh, okay. Okay, it just keeps going. Suddenly, the shone from heaven a great light round about me, and could not see
He was not
for
drunk,
the
Esther.
glory.
He was not drunk at all. He had not drunk with Donnelly or spat Jacobson back at the sea. He had not careered across the lost shores and terminal beaches of this nascent archipelago. He did not intend his bonnet to be crumpled like a spent tissue by the impact. His windscreen was not star-studded all over like a map of the heavens. His paintwork etched with circuit diagrams, strange fish to call the gulls away. The phosphorescence of the skid marks lighting the M5 all the way from Exeter to Damascus.
Okay, so the accident happened Exeter to Damascus. So was it Paul that killed Esther with the car? That apparently Paul wasn't drunk? That light being led by the hand of them. You guys all piece that together, because I don't remember half of what it said. I don't want to go back to figure it out. That were with me. Something that were with me. Oh man, it is getting really windy and nasty up here. Came into... Okay, so came into... that were with me. Came into that were with me? I don't know, that doesn't make sense either. What is going on? Because I am not making sense of any of these fluorescent scrawlings. But I feel like we are very close to figuring out what the holy living hell is going on in this island. Damascus. Whoa, I see you. I sees you. You can't tells me I don't, 'cause I sees you. Oh yeah, you are right there. You're right there waiting for me. Are you Esther? Or are you the author? I don't even know. But it seems like there are at
We
least...
will leave twin vapor trails in the air. White lines etched into these rocks.
Really? In vapor trails. I mean, I've seen the white lines etched into the rock. Oh.
Dear Esther, I have burnt my belongings, my books, this death certificate. Mine will be written all across this island. Who was Jacobson?
I don't
Who
know.
remembers him?
Nobody.
Donnelly has written of him, but who was Donnelly? Who remembers him? I have painted, carved, hewn, scored into this space all that I could draw from him. There will be another to these shores to remember me, rise from the ocean like an island without bottom, come together like a stone, become an aerial, a beacon, that they will not forget you. We've always been drawn here. One day the gulls will return and nest in our bones and our history. I will look to my left and see Esther Donnelly flying beside me. I will look to my right and see Paul Jacobson flying beside me. They will leave white lines carved into the air to reach the mainland, where help will be sent.
Oh, don't do it! No! No! Don't jump! Don't do it! You're just gonna start at the beginning! No! Okay, so to my left and right is... they're the peoples? Well, that's really pretty. But also not good for my health. It is not gonna end well in about probably 10 seconds at this rate. I'm falling super slowly. Huh. And get ready for the splat! And... oh. Apparently I'm a birdie bird. Because I didn't splat. So wait, is that the end of the game? It seems like it. Where am I going? Why am I going? Is this all just one vicious cycle that repeats itself? Light from heaven was shown around him. Huh. Okay. So I'm not Paul. But I think there are only 3 characters in this game. Evidently. I am a birdie bird. I knew I was a birdie bird. There's a boat I was trying to get to. Bye, boat. Huh. So what happened?
Come back.
I don't want to come back. I just want to leave this island. Oh, okay. So that was the ending. All right. So, let me think here. So, like I said, I think there were 3 characters in this whole game. There was Esther Donnelly, Paul Jacobson, and myself. But wait, no, that doesn't make sense because there was another person named Donnelly who got syphilis, who I think was the father of Esther Donnelly, who the main character who I actually played as within the game was in love with. And Esther had gotten killed on the side of the road while she was doing something on the way between Exodus and Damascus. And that was by Paul Jacobson. Yeah. And so my character, super distraught about everything that happened, went off to an island, maybe? I'm not really sure, but he ended up breaking his leg, getting an infection in his leg, going crazy from drug abuse, and I think killing himself to be with Esther, who he loved. But I don't know. I don't know what was up with the shadowy figures. Were those like past versions of myself? Or was this just a continued loop between my psyche? And why did I turn into a bird at the end of the game? I don't know. There was a lot of symbolism in this game, but I really liked it. It was very pretty. And if you guys understand this story better than I do, which is probably really likely, go ahead and leave a comment down below because I would really like to know what is going on and if I got these pieces correct. But yeah, that was Dear Esther. Super pretty game. A lot of replayability, a lot more dialogue, and some other events visually that happened that you guys did not see in these videos, and that I didn't even get to experience. So I might play it for myself on my own just to see some of these things and hear the dialogue. And I highly recommend all of you guys out there go get this game and see it for yourself, because it is gorgeous. The sounds are incredible, and it's really immersive. I was thoroughly shocked and pleasantly surprised with all that this game had to offer. So I think we are going to leave it here for now. And until next time, guys, my name is Czar. This has been Salty Fish Game. And all of you salty fish out there, stay salty. And we will be back with some very new content in the very near future.